All right, here it is, THL. Once again, we are back with Hearthcenter, and this is week 2 of season 18 of THL. As always, we've got a bunch of stuff to dive in to cover tonight because all of the series are underway right now. Last week, it was only some off-season events and battlegrounds, but this week, we've got 5 series to cover. So let's get it started here. We've got our regular crew coming back once more, starting off in the top right. Who else but the wild guru himself? It is Marty B. How you doing, Marty?
If only I was in the top right. Either that or I'm mixing things up.
Yeah,
Uh,
you used to
I'm
be in
Mark.
the top
You
right.
talking
I
about?
thought I'd mix it up this season.
you
Maybe
know?
maybe I'll put you back there. I don't know if you're good.
Oh, if I'm good, I see. Well, I've been told I'm very washed up by
Oh,
some
nice.
people, so I don't know if I'll be able to get back to that top right. But I'm doing pretty good.
Glad
Doing
to hear
better.
it.
Yeah, doing
Glad to
good.
have you
So
here as always. Our next guest coming back for the second week in a row, on time and on cam tonight with an unbelievably incredible background. Sponsored by Brushy Tuna himself. I'm sure he would be so thrilled to see you using that image right now and not at all threatened to sue. It is our main man, Desharmo. How you doing, Desharmo?
I'm doing great now that I'm here with you guys. So looking for a great show today.
Awesome, awesome. So am I. Happy to get into all this stuff. We've got Player of the Week stuff to dive into as well. But before we do, last but not least, the man with the best GIF in all of THL shows. To our bottom right, it is Dr. Lotus Knight. How you doing tonight, buddy?
Oh, I'm doing great. I can't complain. It's been a busy day, but I get to just be with friends here and do a great Hearth Center show. So, as rushed and scruffed as we usually are, it's going to be a lot of fun.
Hey,
Hey now. I,
what's
I
that
take
GIF
that
though?
personally, scuffed. Come on.
I've been meaning to ask this. What is that GIF of? Am I blasphemous for asking that question?
This
No,
that's from what Invader Zim, right?
Invader Zim, yes. It's a
Ah, okay,
very weird show.
It is
okay.
exceedingly weird, but it's fun,
it's a classic though.
and that character is great too. But no more time spent on Invader Zim because we got players of the week to talk about. We are going to start off with the Hero series. Desharmo, can you tell me who is our Hero series player of the week?
Before we do that, I'm sorry. I might have looked like I was picking my nose. I promise you, I wasn't. My beard hair goes
Sure.
inside my nose. It literally
Lies.
goes inside my nose, and I breathe. I'm trying to get it out. So, if people just saw, I just saw myself on stream. I just
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
picking my nose on stream.
It's okay. It's okay. There's two kinds of people in this world: people who pick their nose and liars.
Yeah.
No, I do
Oh,
pick my
fair.
nose, but appropriately.
All right, we're definitely gonna get a clip of Desharmo picks his
I
nose
know,
live
I
on
know.
stream.
It was my beard, it was in my nose. I hate it. Like I just one hair, it just goes up for some reason.
Desharnos.
I
Nice.
know. Right?
Excuses.
But yeah, tell me
Uh,
tell me who's the hero player of the week, if you will.
okay, where do I look for this?
Oh, just scroll up a little bit in the general. I posted it.
Okay, all right, cool, 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 cool. All right, hero player of the week is none other than our famous Dr. Fish. Gave Clarity a birthday bashing on stream with a decisive 3-1 victory, with the teams playing a very tightly contested series. The cherry on top of this birthday Sunday was the side bet that if Fish won, Clarity was required to sing happy birthday on stream. We'll be singing Fish's praises all season if he continues the kind of performance that he earned Player of the Week honors. And I believe that was written by
Atachi.
Hitachi.
Yep. Yeah, that was fun to be a part of. I actually got to cast the match, and Clarity joined and sung "Happy Birthday" to Dr. Fish on stream. It was a good time, except for Clarity maybe. But yeah, good stuff. Moving on next, we've got Legacy, and let's go over to Lotus Knight. Lotus, tell me who was the Legacy Player of the Week this week?
Sorry, I was just searching for the unmute button. For Legacy, talk about pressure. Two highly rated and talked about teams clashed in Week 1 Legacy. Match number 5 tied 9-9. Two matches to each side. You could not ask for a tougher situation, and this match emulated the pressure to perfection. Hickett went the distance all the way to game number 5 against an incredibly strong opponent in Robobson, ultimately closing out game 5 and giving Fish a close and well deserved 13-11 victory. Best of luck in the remainder of the season to Hickett and his team.
Nice. Next, we've got Wild. Let's go to, I'm always coming to you for Wild, Marty. So go ahead and tell me, who was the Wild player of the week this last week?
Well, Ron, much like their fishy minion namesakes, the Crab Riders were underrated by all the preseason prognosticators. For rushing out to a furious start, nothing could stop them. Hey, wrong team. Whoever wrote this, wrong team. Anyways, nothing could stop them as they picked up a 13-10 win over Hair Club, capped off by this week's Wild Player of the Week, Risa. Risa posted a 3-0 sweep of Wild Ladder leaderboard regular Memnarch in the deciding match to tip the scales
Nice.
and I believe that was a top. Oh,
I
I gotta
I
yell at him
very
now.
much enjoy that you gave it a go with the Murloc phrase too.
Uh,
Nicely
that
done.
was Dr. Bomb
Yeah,
D
Dr.
that
Bombi
wrote that
wrote
one.
that one, I think.
Dr. BOMD, be right back. I'm gonna go
BOMD.
yell at him.
Nice. All right. Next, we have our pro player of the week. And I'll take this one here since he happens to be my opponent for the upcoming week. So this will be exciting. I get to play against reigning player of the week, Jester, who is back for his first full season in pro. His team, Mancrick's Multiple Wives, was not reviewed favorably, but they started the season off with a bang, defeating F2L Scarlet with the help of a strong 3-1 win by Jester. This win puts them atop the Black Conference after the first week. All right, and then last up, we have our Battlegrounds player of the week. Take it away, Lotus Knight.
Sure. So Phantom Force was 20 points out of playoffs. That's when you give up. You start building your team for next season. You recruit a strong player you would like. That can be Baze, could have been Tuna. You bother Mako a couple times to try to find out if you'll be approved as a captain, and the regular stuff that you do. But that's not what Fire Emblems did. He breathed fresh air for Phantom Force by winning a first and second place in his lobby and putting his team directly in position to make it. That's the stuff legends such as Martha and Lucina are made of.
Nice. I love it. So there you have it. Your players of the week for THL last week: Dr. Fish, Hickett, Risa, Jester, and Fire Emblems, or Fire Emblem Z. I'm still unsure on that one, but congratulations to these players. Very well done, and good luck to them all in the remainder of their respective seasons. In most of these cases, that's going to be a whole lot of weeks, but for Fire Emblem Z, Fire Emblems. Really, really big win and crucial to try to get into playoffs. So exciting to see that happen.
You mind if I say something real quick about Player of the Week?
Go for it.
You don't mind? I just want to. We have a few new people on Player of the Week this season. Corrodin's writing some of our write ups, and Dr. Bomb D is sort of taking over for the reins of sort of the head honcho on it. So just want to thank those guys for devoting their time. Itachi still doing it again, and Bay Stink doing it again. So and our good old Lotus Knight as well, doing some BGs for a few weeks. So just want to thank those guys for taking their time out of their week to to recognize some players in the THL.
Absolutely awesome. Well said. And with that, we are going to move on to our first recap of the week, and let's get a little bit of octathlon action going on. This whole thing is just about wrapped up now, finally. We actually have some third place finishers to start in the last hero standing portion. We had a third place that was completed. We can change the slash. Ufric was able to take that third place spot and pick up a point for his team. Congratulations to Ufric. Moving on to the next one for Classic. Classic, of course, we already know winners C-Mac and Corden, but Markshire was your third place finisher for Classic. So, we got another 1 point there being earned by Markshire. Congratulations on completing the Classic portion of Octathlon. We had a little bit more. Speedstone, kind of counter to its name, didn't actually wrap up the fastest, but we did finally get a Speedstone third place finisher. Avi and Agent PWE, of course, as we saw last week, were the first and second. Valdis took that third place spot. Congratulations to him and his point there. Um, and then we had a complete finish, actually. New information here. Wild wrapped up, and we had winner 6J. What more would you expect than the guy who went through all of Wild Series without losing a single game, or single match, I should say, last season? Yeah, he just blazed right through the Wild Octathlon bracket as well. Congratulations to 6J. You've got Bill Snyder taking the second place spot, and MMW. I wonder if that stands for Mancrick's Multiple Wives. Did the team steal the name from him? Who knows? Maybe we'll find out at some point. But congratulations to these players. Wild wrapped up in Octathlon, which brings us to our final series that we needed to wrap up, Strike. And I'm happy to report that we have a winner. Oh, just kidding. Just kidding. We don't. They have not played Strike. We are still waiting on Strike. Maybe, I don't know, maybe it's going to come at the end of this month, maybe next month. But, updates
When this
incoming
was an
soon.
off-season thing.
Yeah, for the off-season thing. We'll just complete it during the season. It's cool. But anyway,
Yeah, don't worry about
that is Octathlon for us for right now. Exactly, Isocles. How long can this go on? But without further ado, let us dive in to the recap that you guys have been waiting for. The THL season itself. We don't need to spend any more time on these off-season events. Let's jump into Hero. And for this week, we are not going to be doing any meta reports for the closed list series because I did not get around to doing that. That's on me. But next week, someone might do it. I might be off next week. The following week, I promise, we will have meta reports for the closed list series. We still have meta reports, of course, for um, the uh, the other two, the open list series that Marty will dive into. But in the Hero series, we've got Hero Teal standings here, and it's only Teal because there are no other conferences. So, in light of that, we have two logos. We are going to show you the top two teams in Hero rather than the single top team in the conference, which goes to Dad Legend with 21 points and Blast with 20 points. Let's start off talking about Dad Legend a little bit here. And I'm going to turn it over to Lotus Knight first. Tell me about this match between Dabs on him, the newest version of the team that made it all the way to the finals last season. Dad Legend showed up and gave him a whooping.
Yeah, everyone expected this team to do well. You start with Baze, then her brother, and then you have Duwin. I don't know who Seth is, and Buse. Buse is a 1 seed slash 2 seed slash 3 seed this time in Legacy. So this is a very much insane team facing Dead Legend, who struggled a bit last season. I can say that because I wasn't the team. And Dead Legend just went crazy. Icicles lost to Based because no one can beat Based anyways. And then the other players in that legend won with Starlax, Risen, Corrodin, and the Captain Yellow Dart himself winning against Dab on him. Just a really, really strong result, putting that legend with quite the hot start.
Absolutely, yeah. Impressive opener to the season. Good for obviously first place in the conference. So we'll see if they're able to keep that momentum going or if they will fall apart again in recent Hero Series Dad Legend fashion. Maybe this season they break that curse. They've been cursed ever since winning a Hero title, but who knows? Maybe this is the
I
bounce
feel
back.
bad. I feel bad for whoever's in the 5 seeds in this conference Yellow Dart in the 5 seed and Buse in the 5 seed. Both of those players are gross.
Oh yeah.
They had to face each other week 1. So sorry if you're in the 5 seed, but
Sorry
probably
if
going to
you're
get
in
a
any seed in Hero this season, honestly, it
yeah,
seems like,
true.
because Hero is just, this might, we say this, it seems like every season, but every season things get crazier. This might once
Yeah.
again be one of the most stacked fields of Hero that we've seen. But
Hero
interesting
is
to follow and see how it goes.
I mean, the next match, the two 5 seeds, they're known 5 seeds for a little bit, so not gross, but not as gross.
True. Well, tell me about it, Desharmo, because I was actually just about to ask you. No pros here versus Ask HS. Super close one here. We had a
Yeah,
14-13 win. What happened to this one?
yeah. Ask HS, a hero semifinalist or a quarterfinalist last season, um, taking it real close to no pros here, and I don't think no pros here made the playoffs last season, if I'm not mistaken, or did they? Don't remember.
Um,
Um,
was that?
I don't.
I think this was the first season that they didn't actually make playoffs last season.
Yeah.
Because like every
Okay.
season they make playoffs, but I think last season they narrowly
Yeah.
missed it.
But the really close match here. I think this kind of shows that both of these teams are pretty evenly matched. I think every point mattered here. The huge sweep over Agent PWE with Neji Boston kept Ask HS in the match, but getting those extra points from the second seed match over Mr. Python, who is in the 2 seed for that matter. What is he doing there? But
Yeah, last season's Hero Series MVP, Mr. Python, just hanging out in the 2 seed. No
yeah,
big deal.
And Carvalho, you got to give him. I mean, I know he lost a match here, but you got to give him some props.
Hey, hey,
Getting
hey.
those 2 points.
That's a Brazilian name. I'll teach you how to pronounce it. It's
Go ahead.
Carvalho.
Yeah, I
Okay.
was gonna say
Nice.
that's
I'm
that.
not gonna say it because I'm gonna ruin it. But what Lotus said.
Nice.
Uh, but getting those.
We're facing each other, so I hope he's either Brazilian or Portuguese, or I'm very dumb right now.
Yeah, no, that's definitely either Brazilian or Portuguese for sure.
Uh, I can't
So
speak
most likely
Brazilian.
Brazilian. I mean, the easiest way, if you see LH in any Portuguese whatsoever,
Yeah,
you pronounce it more as a Y. You know how in Spanish it's double L that's pronounced as a
Yeah.
Y?
yeah.
Mhm.
For Portuguese, it's LH,
Nice.
basically.
All right, so
Carvalho.
come to Hearth
Okay.
Center for the THL recap.
Yeah.
Stay for the linguistics lessons.
Well, I
We've got
speak
it all
Spanish.
here,
I just don't
guys.
speak Portuguese. So.
Oh,
But anyway, my
there
point
you go.
my point was that he got the 2 points, and that really that won the match. I would say so. Congratulations on Carr. I'm just going to say that. Congratulations on him getting that 2 seat, those 2 points. Every point matters. This is where this is what I always say every season. Every point matters, and it just goes to show you right here. Mumkid, Disco, and Quads, all really strong players, picking up their wins in their respective seeds. No, nothing fancy there, but really close match. And I'm looking for SKHS to rebound here. I think that they're a strong team. I think that they can rebound, and I think that they're a solid playoff contender, even though they lost this week.
Oh yeah, very solid team, and no shame in ever losing to NPH, who often just dominates the regular season. Last season not included. Um, it's a very close match, and I think both of these teams are ones to keep an eye on for the playoff race as we get late in the season. Never too early to talk playoffs. Week 1, we're already talking playoffs. That's what we do here. But also, outside of this match, DeSharmo, I think there was one other thing that you mentioned you wanted to talk about relating to maybe some Powbot
No.
rankings.
Yeah, I was just you gotta call me out, don't you? You gotta put me on the spot.
Naturally, yes, yes.
I'm calling out Isaac. I already called him out. Putting Tam Surf Slam so low on the rankings. Just like 3, and then we go ahead and beat the #1 ranked team. So, um, I would like for him to continue to put us low again. Please rank us worse than you did last time, so that we
Nice.
can go and prove that we're not that team.
Love to see it. With that, we'll move on to the next series unless anyone else has anything to say about the Hero series. All right. Sweet. Let's move on to Battlegrounds. So, move it on over, get this up on the screen, and as promised, we now have finally Battlegrounds logos. That's right, the Lemurs still are holding the top spot in BGs this season. You see their fantastic logo there in the top left. I mean, what more could you expect but a bunch of lemurs staring at you? And we're going to start off, with the breakdown of the lobbies green, blue, and red. Starting with green, we have F2L Silver, Friends of Bob, Lemurs, and Murgle Buse. Um, Talk to me about this one here. Let's see. I guess Lotus, you play more in BGs, so take it away with the green lobby breakdown to start off.
Well, given what happened to me this week, I wouldn't say I play BGs as more as I'm there when BGs happen. But that being said, Green Lobby was pretty strong. There were some really good players. Triss had gotten a double one last week, which is completely insane. And then Triss decided not to show up for some reason. I do not know. I hope everything's okay. But Lee just kept his or her dominance on BG's with a 79-point record now after two first place and a third place. And Mr. Incredible got two second places. So kind of the good players just kept getting better.
Yeah, I mean, there's a reason Lemurs is at the very top of the standings. This team is just completely nuts, and we'll probably say that every time we review their matches. They kind of have a big target on their back for every other team for who's kind of the real contender for the title here. It seems.
Yes.
All right, with that, let's move on to our breakdown of the blue lobby. Let's get blue up on the screen. And Marty B, can you talk to me a little bit about what went down in the blue lobby for BGs this last week?
All right, here we go. My improv skills are being put to the test because I have no idea what I'm talking about.
That's right, I love putting you on the spot
With
like
that
this.
disclaimer aside, Blue Lobby, looking at this split, Yockster getting first and eighth, perfectly balanced. Super Chicken balancing that out with getting eighth in the first round and then first in the second. Perfectly balanced by those two. Outside of that, there's quite a bit of consistency among everyone. Where your mum kid was top four, so was Agent PWE. Ligor doing really well with the second place finish, and then falling a little bit with sixth. Hockey Boys hanging around fifth and third, so right in the middle. And Andrasi and Jump Float hanging around between fifth and seventh, both lobbies. For the B splits,
It looks
there's
like there was a lack of reporting in some of the B splits, at least from the screenshot I was able to grab.
Yes, there was a lack of reporting, but also quite a bit of consistency among players. Pocky and Lilnenko just dominating once again. The 16 and 14 points, pushing their teams ahead. You really look at how they've been doing this season, and it's crazy to think about. They've just been so far ahead. Uh, some of their opponents, Lilnenko with what he did in Octathlon recently, Pocky getting the most points in the blue lobby of any player so far. You know, Outside of that, the letter W, hanging around in the middle, already getting the first place lobby one finish, but we don't really know about the second. Hoppa Bear finishing third, Corden finishing seventh and fifth, and Phoenix getting sixth, Eclair six getting eighth. We don't know much on those for the second round though.
Yeah, there you go. I think we're still seeing a lot of the biggest contenders sort of rising to the top, as it were, in the race to the end of the season here. Concede your match players up at the very top, with your Mumked and PWE. Bob's Bounty Hunters, with Pocky, with Hoppa Bear doing really well. Um, you know, it's it's
Who'd have
just no
thought?
real surprise. Concede your match and Bob's Bounty Hunters were our two championship match teams last season, and Lemurs just came in with a bang. So we've got kind of our top three are zero surprise at all. But what more would you expect at this stage of the season? But
The
interesting to see
mass
who else
hysteria,
breaks in.
mass hysteria simulator has skill.
Yes, the skill-based mass hysteria simulator. Nice. All right, and
Yeah.
finally, let's move on to the red lobby, where we have our player of the week for BG's series, Fire Emblem Z, or Fire Emblems, taking a second and a first to move his team into fourth. Huge, huge performance here. Lotus Knight, talk to me about the red lobby, more specifically the eighth and the eighth.
Um, this happened. I will accuse Steffi of cheese stratting me, which ended up working really well, but she did admittedly cheese strat.
Nice.
Um, but this was just a really good lobby. Some great teams here. I think we have Phantom Force, who's now a force to be reckoned with. And yes, that was as awful as it sounded. Um, and yeah, overall, just Phantom Force pulled a lot of their strength here, with Fire Emblems just carrying the team back into contention. The other players that performed well, Rice Bowl, Mac Mariners, who I think was subbing for someone else. And on the other lobby, Blue Jay, Reverb, and Valera. I do want to give a shout out for Cherub to giving our team our last whisper in Battlegrounds. I don't think we have a chance anymore, but was fun while it lasted.
Hey, you got a first. That's pretty sweet.
Yeah,
Also, got to point out that he was. If we had any runner-ups for Player of the Week, Cherub was runner-up for Battlegrounds Player of the Week.
True. Yeah, hard to overcome the second and the first that puts the team in
right.
fourth place for sure. All right, awesome.
Yeah.
So there you have it, our recap for Battlegrounds series for last week. Any final words on Battlegrounds before we jump into Wild? We'll head on back over to the caster screen, and we've got a rapid fire ad as always for you. But before we do, any final words on Battlegrounds?
Looking forward to seeing Quill Boys in Battleground.
Just give me a quick second to finish picking my nose, and you can go back to your thing.
All right, that's it. We're going right now. Let's catch the Sharmo. All right. So, as always, THL, we got to ask for your support. Let's kick it off here. Hey there, Twitch viewers. Have you subscribed to Team Hard Legends yet? No? Then make today the day to be a legend yourself and subscribe to our channel. This subscription enables the THL team to help cover the various costs of operating our website, as well as improve the quality of our streams and content to our viewers. If you have Amazon Prime or Twitch Prime, you can actually subscribe to this channel for free. Subscribers will get a THL emoticon as well as the lovely THL chat badge. So hit that heart button, keep the notifications on, and make sure you catch our team broadcasting live. We appreciate each and every one of you. Special note to our viewers, check out THL's other social media points of interest, our website, teamhardlegends.com. Follow us on Twitter, THL_HS. Join us on Discord at Team Hard Legends. Check out the THL POW podcast for power rankings for all series wherever you find your podcast. The true Hard Legends himself, Saku, continues to post all of our videos on our YouTube channel. Just search for Team Heart Legends to catch everything previously recorded. You're, of course, watching us on our Twitch channel, twitch.tv/Team Heart Legends Live, or possibly on our YouTube channel in the future. And for all you THL fanatics out there, there are THL shows every single day of the week. You can't go wrong tuning in at any time for some amazing Hearthstone-related content. Now back to the good part. Actually, though, one more thing to mention. Also consider supporting THL by buying THL merch. That's right, you see Marty B repping that F2L merch. There's also a sweet THL shirt that I got here that I'm wearing today. So go out there, get yourself some merch. It's amazing. It helps support THL, us on the stream, and the community at large. We love you very much. Uh, and what do we have now? Wild. Let's jump into Wild. Marty, you know I'm coming to you. We got a meta report. It's Marty B's Stats Corner. Let's get it up on the screen. Talk to me about what is happening in Wild. You might be muted, by the
I always do this. I always do myself every time. Oh, this week was the start of a new season. With the new season, things were actually a bit different from the start. It wasn't like last time where it was just more of the same old stuff with like Reno Priest, Dark Lair, all that at the top. We still have those, obviously, but this time it was a bit different. We have new top archetypes that were making waves. With Demon Hunter, we had a Highlander Demon Hunter and a Reno Demon Hunter. I had to clarify between those because the Highlander didn't have Reno Jackson. I won't say who, but they said that they had forgotten about Reno Jackson in the first place. So,
Nice.
How do you do that?
What do you mean?
look,
Bill Snyder got second place in Octathlon, forgetting
Ah,
about
sure.
Reno.
it wasn't even just the Demon Hunter that they brought that they had forgotten Reno, by the way. There's
Solid.
another deck.
That's a
But
move right there. That's a
yeah, it
flex.
was
We call
it
that
was a
extended BM.
huge flex. Huge flex. But next up we had in Druid a bunch of different archetypes, aggro and J Druid, obviously. One Togwaggle, which was a little different because it wasn't your traditional Togwaggle Azalino or Togwaggle Mill. This one had Hakar, so a bit different. Linecracker Druid, we've seen that before. The Malygos Druids that were most popular, though, are different this season. We're no longer doing stuff based on Juicy Psych Melon. So instead, we're playing Celestial Alignment. And Celestial Alignment does some funny things where an other ramp, and then you just pop off in 2 turns with your entire deck and kill your opponent. It's a really cool deck. Not sure if it's that strong compared to the tier 1 decks, but it's certainly something that we'll see more of as the season goes on. Hunter was a bit of a surprise. 5 hunters this week. Might be the most hunters we see all season in a week. But 3 secret, 1 even, 1 odd. No Reno hunters. A bit of surprise there. But Hunter actually did better than expected. I know at least 2 of those decks, I believe, got wins. So not too bad. It may have Secret Hunter in particular may have more usage as the season goes on, in particular because of a certain mage deck that's probably going to get more popular. And that's actually the most popular mage deck right now, Waker Mage. Waker Mage is a combo deck where you just run Flame Waker, Sorcerer's Apprentice, and Stargates of Lunar, your only minions, and then you have a bunch of spells. You draw through your deck, play the Conjure Mana Biscuit and Refreshing Spring Water to get your mana back, and you pop off and kill your opponent with Waker Pings. So
Easy.
super degenerate deck, very powerful, probably going to be more popular as the season goes on. The rest are pretty standard. Mozaki Mage is actually a variant of the Waker Mage, slightly different, just with a Mozaki shell, but it's the same idea. Everything else we've seen before, other than the Even Mage, which kind of meme, but got better too, has some support, so who knows? Hand Buff Paladin is probably the biggest surprise this season. We've seen it before, but now it's kind of insane with Samuro and Conviction. And with those cards alone, Hand Buff just kind of exploded. Okay, the strength of this deck, you can't really ignore it anymore. It's going to be very powerful in the Conquest meta, and it's something to really look out for. Next up, Priest. Priest is still doing the same old this time. You have Combo Reno Priest, the single quest Reno Priest, which we all know is brought by White Delight at this point, and then a few big priests as well. Rogue is pretty much dead. No Kingsbane, one Kingsbane, 2 aggro, 2 Mill. Mill is just more people who like the deck than anything, and then 2 Reno Rogues which were brought by people who had been playing the archetype because someone had rank 1 legend with it. So those are
Really
more fun.
fancy.
Yeah, but Rogue really doesn't have much going on right now. So don't expect it to be that popular class. In fact, Shaman was more popular this week. 4 Reno Shamans, 2 Murloc Shamans. Yeah, Murloc Shaman is back. A Galakron Shaman, which also won in a sweep as well. And the Elemental Shaman, which was supposed to be a Reno Shaman, but missed Reno Jackson. Next up with
Wild
Warlock.
community out here flexing. All right, I see
Yeah,
you.
they're flexing hard. But Warlock, Dark Lair, popular archetypes, followed by Discard and Cube Warlock, just the regulars, everything you've seen before. And the same with Warrior. Pirate Warrior was huge this week. It's going to be a big player again because it recently got a ton of buffs with Outrider's Axe, the new Flybooter, the 2/2 Flybooter from the core sets, a new 2/1 from the core set as well. and probably the most powerful new card from the set, from Forge of the Barons, Rokara. People already know the strength of Rokara in standard with Rush Warrior, but it's even crazier in Pirate Warrior because you just play a bunch of pirates turn 1, get a board of 5 minions, coin out Rokara on turn 2, and next thing you know, you have 20 stats on the board that your opponent can't deal with, and it's constantly growing.
That's dirty.
Yeah. Outside of that, Odd and Dead Man's Hand Warrior have some representation, and 2 big warriors showed up. So, very exciting.
Nice.
Should be a fun and very, or a long season full of a lot of variety.
Yes. What I'm hearing is ban Waker Mage, or maybe ban Hand Buff Paladin.
There's good arguments to doing both of those, but it really depends on your lineup. So,
Also
luck.
fair, as always.
Good luck. This meta is very unique in that you cannot get away with sneaking past your counters as easily this time. So
I have also learned to bring Reno decks with no Reno. I think that's smart. I like it. But one thing I really enjoy, as always, with our Wild Meta report is just how many different things there are, which, you can't expect anything other than a lot of different available archetypes from the format that has every card that has ever been printed in Hearthstone available to it. So exciting, as always, to see. And with that, we're going to jump into the Wild Series recap. Wild is one of 2 series this season that is actually condensed to a single conference. We have just the Brown Conference, but I didn't like the color as much, so I kept this green, and you can't stop me because it's my show. But it is actually the Brown Conference. I just like
it's
the
the
green
Green
background.
Conference.
Wait, is it the
Green.
Green Conference? I thought
Yeah, I
the
picked
color
it.
was brown.
No. I was told either I pick brown or green by Dawn Day, and I'm like, all right, just do green because Wild is usually green. We're
Oh,
more
I think it
associated with
might
green than
be.
brown.
I think
So,
it might say brown on the website.
am I gonna
We
have to
gotta
yell
we
at
gotta
Dawn
get that
Day too?
fixed.
So I have to yell at Dr. BOMD for the no fin can stop us thing, and now I have to yell at Dawn
No,
Day.
Or
no,
wait, no, no,
you.
no. It doesn't say brown. It has the brown underline
Okay,
on Wild
I
Series instead of the green underline. Okay.
Donde from under the bus, so it's not Donde. It's R hat because he's the one who does the sheets,
Blame
but you got
Hat.
to cut R hat some slack. This guy does so much work behind the scenes. You guys have no idea.
True.
If
The
it's
night,
our
That's
hat, I'll
that's
give him
fair.
a pass.
the night before the season, R hat is up for up until 4 o'clock in the morning sometimes doing our sheets and stuff, and then he still has to update all of our stats. So
True.
I think
That
you
man
could
doesn't
you
sleep.
could politely
I'm looking for an
let R hat
excuse to yell
know.
at Dawn Day.
Yeah, you could just politely let R hat know, hey, could you change it to green, and it would be okay.
You know what? I
No,
think we
I
should
just
still yell
I'll
at
still
Donde
yell at Dawn
anyway.
Day for
Yeah,
this. Don't
yeah.
worry.
I'm with you. I'm with you, Marty. Let's just yell at Donde. He'll just be there confused. Like, what? It's not even me. But back to Wild Series, we have once again, because of the single conference format, we've got double logos here on the screen for you for the top 2 teams in Wild right now. And a bit of a surprise to me that no fin or nothing can stop us. 21 points and leading Wild. And then we have, of course, defending champion, everyone's a winner. I crowded you out, Marty, kind of intentionally because I thought it'd be funny. You have 19 points, F12 Viridian does, same as everyone's a winner. But everyone's a winner won the title, and I didn't want to put 3 logos on the screen, so I just edged out F2L and just put everyone's a winner there. You're welcome.
I feel like you did it just for me. I know you.
It's like a screw you, Marty, without
Yeah.
saying it.
It's okay.
Well,
We'll
I
just remind
also
everyone
said it
how
though at the
washed up
same
I am.
time.
We'll just remind everyone how washed up I am, and that I'll
Nice.
never win again. In typical F2L fashion, getting carried to the finals and then losing spectacularly on stream.
Nice.
It's fine.
Yeah. Good
What
good
did you
times,
win?
good
What
memories
did you
for
win?
all of us, really. But let's start off with our recap. Our first highlighted match, 13-10 victory for Crab Riders over Hair Club, with, of course, Risa, our player of the week, coming in huge with that 3-0. Talk to me about the match as a whole, Marty. What happened here?
Yeah, so White Delight decided that he was going to bring his comfort decks. And he went in with his comfort decks, didn't meme, and he got the 3-0 sweep. Boo Hooligan had the upper hand on Concerned Mom. Mom wanted to go with aggro, followed by Reno Rogue, which usually works as long as your opponent doesn't go full anti aggro. But Boo Hooligan did exactly that. Unfortunately, we didn't see the Reno Rogue get played because it was banned. So very unfortunate there. But congrats to Blue Hooligan. Next up, between Otters and Jumpy. If anyone doesn't know Jumpy, Jumpy is a data gatherer and analyst. Old President Trump, but Trump SC, the person who we all know as the card reviewer that is never right. So it was always going to be an uphill battle against Otters. Otters just a fantastic player. 1-3, nothing to scoff at all. Casual R had a really rough season last time and is starting off on the right foot here with a 3-1 win over Burnt. Congrats to them. Glad to see that they can start the season on the right foot this time. Hopefully they can keep it up, and I'll be excited to follow them more. And finally, Risa, as you said, the player of the week, sweeping Memnarch. That is no easy feat. I know they took the season off last season, and seeing them back and getting the win is always a really good feeling. So congrats to Crab Riders.
Absolutely. Big win there, and it's always huge to get an early win and start picking up some momentum. It feels so good being, 1-0 and saying you're undefeated rather than 0-1 and saying, all right, let's try to turn this around and make it a one-loss season. But interesting to see both of these teams how they do. We know Hair Club well from last season, who was a pretty strong competitor, and Crab Riders, coming in on the scene pretty impressively. Our next match here, since we only have two to cover here for Wild being a one conference series, I'm just going to go right back to you on this one, Marty. Talk to me about Anoyo team versus WTF, the Wild THL Fanatics, a 12-9. What went down?
This is huge. Doing starting off 0-1 is just cursed. Not even just 0-1, but getting swept 0-3. Okay, that's just cursed right there. Slod just came in, knew that Duin was going to go with his comfort decks and counter them hard, and he was paid off for it. So good on him. Slate over Turtle 3-1. Slate is always just a formidable player. No shame on Turtle really. Kept it close, and then the final three matches were all sweeps. This whole week was weird within the Wild Series. I wanted to mention this before. I think the average game was less than 4 games because there were so many sweeps this week. Not sure why, but there just were a lot of sweeps compared to last season where the average match was about 4.15 games long. So it was really strange. Bone Masher and Mad at Arms taking the sweeps for another team, and Dr. BOMD, the captain himself, taking the sweep for Wild THL Fanatics. Overall, because of the sweeps, this was a really low scoring match, but should be very exciting because both of these teams are looking up.
Nice. Yeah, and Anoya team, I kind of hated on them early last season, and they really showed me up. They were just really impressive all season long, and they're coming right back at it to start off this season. Excited to see how they do, and kind of excited to see Wild THL Fanatics keep this one close. They were a championship team. They were in the finals match at least for, I think, our inaugural Wild season. So definitely been around for a while and excited to see if they can return to their former glory. So stay tuned for what we have in store for you over the series for Wild as things progress. Any last things to say on the Wild series before we move on over to Legacy?
I just want to point out the Anoyo team won their match with the least amount of possible points that they could have won their match with.
Yeah, true.
My boy Matt at Arms always getting it done, no matter how many points.
Squeaking by.
I also want to take a moment. Check out the THL blog. It's a bit late, but we have a comprehensive wild preview. Sunday and Jailstorm helped me out on it. So thanks to those guys. And hopefully you find some good info there. And yeah, definitely check it out.
Nice. All right. With that, let's move it on over to Legacy Series. We're going to start off with last week in the Gold Conference. And speaking of a Noyo team, we've got a leader in a Noyo team to kick off the season. 20 points picked
Nice.
up early, beating the crap out of some Scrubs team. I don't know. I see some bad names on there. Isaac Ron
Run.
Mexico. I don't know what's going on with that team. It looks awful.
The only way you could make this team worse is if you added Dawn Day.
Nice. Maybe that Marty B guy though. I heard he's washed up.
That's why I took a break. So you
Oh,
won't
okay.
find me in this series.
Nice. But really impressive victory for a Noyo team to start off. Do you even Tonk and DeStubbs very close behind, by the way, with 19 points each. Going to be an interesting race in the Gold Conference. And Chaos Theory, Hearthstone Academy, um, well, I mean, Chaos Theory is not a big name, but Hearthstone Academy is a big name and starting off pretty low to kick off this season. Fortunately, there's a lot of games left to be played. Let's start talking about this one here. Desharmo, I know you've been just chomping at the bit, waiting to lay into me for this one. So take it away. Anoyo team versus Chaos Theory. What happened here, buddy?
Uh, okay. I chomping at the bit. Not sure. Okay. Yes, I've been chomping at the bit. I will.
What,
Um,
you didn't want to talk to me about my loss? Okay, it's cool.
well, I mean, you got your butt handed to you by Robocats, so
Hey, I'll
you
have
know
you know he was undefeated in game
that is
and match
something.
score and won MVP in Legacy last season. I took 2 games off him. I'm happy.
Yeah. But he's playing Ron Mexico, so
I
I
don't even
mean,
know who that guy is.
the guy's terrible.
True.
Anyway, I mean, Robocats. I want to point out again. I said this. This is the third time I've said this. Robocats was a 50 PR player and said, you know what? I need to be higher PR, and so he voluntarily raised his PR, voluntarily, and is still whipping ass in the 1 seed. So, so amazing job, and that's. I think it's still a steal at 415. Like that's still a
Yeah,
steal, and
absolutely.
and it lets players like Nice Juice out in the 4 seed and Zthund, who's a great player in the 5 seed. It's going to be a really good season for a Noyle team, and I think a Noyle team is looks like this might be a season where they can actually, um, you know, uh, get a title or maybe get in the finals or something like that. And I think it really comes down to Robocats. If Robocats can just keep doing what he's doing in the 1 seed, I think the rest of the team will follow suit.
Yeah, really strong players. Doing in the 3, still, I think, a completely broken PR spot for
Yeah,
him. Catharsis, Nitro Showl, Zthund, all really strong players as well. Keep an eye on a Noyo team for sure.
yeah,
There is a reason they're leading the conference, and not just because they played some scrubs in Chaos
yeah,
Theory. I'm excited to see how they do next week as well.
yeah. And I'm looking for Chaos Theory to fix things up next week, right the ship. You got they have a strong team too. Ron, who's the normal 2 seed? Is it Jazz? Is Jazz going to be the permanent replacement or?
No. Solo Jazz was actually just stepping in for Notorious GHP for a week.
Okay,
So Notorious GHP will be in the
yeah,
2 seed going forward.
yeah. Still a gross team. Isaac who's a 1 seed, and Hero is a 3 seed, and Risen in the 4, still gross. And Kodomora even getting the win, the only player to get a win. I
Yeah,
think
we
I
were
think
real proud of Kodomora. He might have locked up BGH. We'll
yeah.
see.
I think there's another one in the other conference where it might be BGH more than that one, but we'll see. No, that was in Hero, so yeah. But anyway, I think Chaos Theory will make us come back.
Well, Isocles I know is for sure hoping that I am as well, and we will see what happens. But let's move on to the next match here. We had a
Hold
very
on.
close. Oh, you had something else to say about this one?
Yeah, I just noticed something, and I'm wondering if this was intentional, Ron. You were touting how you were going to have two teams on the logos up top, and I only see one team here. Are you bashing the second place team here?
No, it's
Not
it's because
having.
there's two conferences in Legacy. So we have a Legacy Red with
I
one
Okay.
think
team.
what he's
So
saying is, I think what he's saying is, do you even tonk, Ron?
Yeah.
amazing. Throw me under the bus. I like it. Let's do this. Let's
Hey, that's what
pile
we're
the
gonna
buses on
do.
top. Let's bring it on. But no, we will for the series that have more than one conference. You only get the one conference leader for each
Okay.
one,
All
and
right.
for the series that are one conference only, you'll get the top two teams with their logos in the top.
Makes sense.
But yeah, I mean, I guess I could throw another logo in there. I don't know if you guys really want to see the second place logo. We can do that. We'll see. Let me
There's a
know
big old blank
in the
space right
feedback
there. I
below.
don't know.
It is a blank space. I could fill that in.
Just put your
I
face
just
there.
wanted the first place to be more important.
No, no, just put Ron's face right there. Just like a big old picture of your mug.
There you go. Just do that all over the place. Personal branding. But no,
Yes.
let's move on to the next match to cover as we've got Hot Zilfs versus Meme Dream Team with a very close match. Um, this one, I thought Zephyrus had left. I'm confused that this team is even still around, but apparently Hot Zilfs still are actually in your area. Lotus, talk to me about this match. What happened in this nail biter here?
Sure, the Zilfs and Mean Dream Team. This was a match that was decided by a single point. So, literally, if any of the players in the Zilfs had scored one less win, so if Jim didn't score a win against my curse, this would not have happened. And Cole started losing to Easy Bake 2-3. Coles is completely washed up. Coles is insane. But Coles with a 2-3 loss to Easy Bake. And then Jammy's Donde and Amphil won against Clone, Interval, and Sorache won. My curse closed the match and barely didn't get there with a 15-14. That's a lot of points for a match that was for a not a tie. I don't think we see 29-point matches that often.
Yeah, that's a lot of points there. So, very hotly contested match here. Interesting to see how this one went down, and I think just kind of announces both of these teams. Even Meme Dream Team losing in week one. It's all about the points and getting 14. Didn't we just see in Wild Series? A Noyo team actually got a 12-point win. I mean, I have to say I'd prefer a 14-point loss to a 12-point win at the end of the day because all that matters is points more than anything else.
Well, you still get the 3 extra for the win, but
Oh yeah, yeah. No, no, no. I'm just
then
dumb. Math is
it's
hard.
such
Because it turns out it would be 15. Yeah, no, no. That was real dumb. Forget I said that,
yeah,
or clip it. Either way.
it's fine. I think still such a good showing from Mean D Team. Dream Team. Literally, they got every point they could, even though they lost. It's important to do that, and every point counts. Every season's like this. You need as many points as you can to win. Don't forget about that.
Yeah, absolutely. So, well, I will have to retract my statement that I would not prefer to lose with a lot of points over win with less points relatively. I will say that that is a very impressive loss by Meme Dream Team and absolutely a contender in the series, like I believe they were last season, pretty much topping their conference almost all season long. So exciting to see how both of these teams do as the series plays out. With that, let's move on to the red conference here. Um, and man, I shouldn't have mentioned that blank space because now it's starting to bother me a little bit. I crammed the two logos for the tied for first place in standard THL Degenerates and Dad Legend in the left, because that's the first place spot, But now there's just this blank spot in the right, and I feel like, you know what, I probably should have moved him over
So
there.
should I use this moment for a Taylor Swift reference?
I sure, why not?
Just take that blank space, baby, and write your name.
Oh man, I mean, I invited it. Okay, that's fair. Uh,
Yes. Yes.
so, congrats to Standard THL Degenerates, STD, taking the top spot, tied with Dad Legend, who holds at least the first place or the tied for first place in both Legacy and Hero, which is a really impressive start. We are
Woo,
not going
go
to be
Dad Legend.
covering. Oh, go ahead.
I said, woo, go Dad Legend.
Yeah, Dad Legend looking pretty spicy to start off the season. We are not going to cover their matches just yet, although I'm sure we'll highlight them soon because we had so many close ones in kind of the middle of the pack here. And we're going to lead off with Fish versus F2L White. Marty, as our resident F2L correspondent, talk to me about this match and what went down.
Man, I was talking to some of these guys, and truth is, I think they all feel that it was just too hard to solve the meta with so little time, and they were punished for it. Mayan got the only win, and the rest just didn't bring what they feel they should have. It wasn't necessarily the classes, just they've gotten better with it. And I think by Thursday or Friday, everyone felt like they had a grip on the meta. But by the time that we needed decklist submission or class submissions in, there wasn't enough time to figure it out. So they had set their decks by then. Didn't really look at trying to solve anything else because everyone was just busy. And they were punished for their lack of time and prep.
Nice. As a counter argument to the prep strategy, Hickett says, who needs to solve the meta? Just win. Well said, Hickett.
You know,
True.
he's not wrong.
That should be on a T-shirt right there.
Oh,
Actually,
yeah,
I
Slad
would
did
love
win.
that on a t-shirt.
Slad did win. I want to point out, Slad won because he played on Sunday. So when these guys are given time to figure out what they want to bring and how to counter the meta, they did pretty well. But on the spot, they were punished. So
Well, I just like seeing Fish prove who is the currently superior Legacy Red Fish team, because everyone knows F2L stands for Fish to Lake, but Fish, of course, taking the victory here to prove they are the top fish in this pond. Yeah, I did that.
I did.
Now let's
Yes,
move
right.
on. let's move on before we dwell on that pun too much. To Illidan's Death Knights versus Flame Pimps. And Desharmo, talk to me a little bit about this match here. Another one that was super, super close. I think we had two to cover this week in our highlighted matches throughout our series that were only separated by a single point. What went down here?
Yeah, a really close match from two teams. If I remember correctly, Flame Pimps was a playoff contender last season. In fact, I think they were one of the top teams, right?
Yeah,
Or am
Flame
I wrong?
Pimps actually,
Or
they were in the same
semifinalists.
conference as Meme Dream Team, and Meme Dream Team
Yeah.
held the lead pretty much all season, but Flame Pimps ended as the leader in Silver Conference last season in
Yes.
Legacy, if I recall correctly. Very strong
Yes.
team.
So I think this is a good showing from Illidan's Death Knights, showing that hey, they can, hold their own against a great team that was on the top of the conference last season. I think I'm not sure how many players they are changed, but it seems to be working for them. T Stew and Rice Bowl picking up the big wins in the 1 and 2, and being outmatched on the PR as well. Goose and Taco really have kind of a huge PR advantage over these two, 50 and 70 points. So good on them for picking up those two wins. And then you have JR and Icer. It's a close match. Boolean with a big win over Man at Arms. Man at Arms is a lot better than his PR would indicate, and Then you got the in the 5 seed coming out real close 3-2. So I really like this match, Illidan Death Knights versus Flame Pimps. I think Illidan's Death Knights looking to to try to sort of step up their game from last season and make the playoffs.
Yeah, absolutely. I got to mention too, as far as Legacy Red is looking right now, interesting to see that F2L White and Dirty Mike and the boys are hanging out at the very bottom of the standings. The Bank Yugi fan club, technically, they do have 0, but they also haven't played a match yet, so it's not fair to say they're
Yeah.
really at the bottom. But F2L White and Dirty Mike, they're two of the teams that you can buy merch for. Come on, guys, you got to step it up. You got
Yeah.
to be more like Dad Legend. So you can buy merch for Dad Legend, and they're up at the top. So I don't know, maybe this is just a Dad Legend merch ad at this point for Red Conference. We got to have a little bit more contention. Maybe these teams can turn it around this long season.
Before we get off on Legacy, I want to just mention throughout the season, since we have some weird buys, I think we're really going to want to look at PPW, points per week. I think that's really going to determine where teams are really sitting. You're going to have teams like the weird symbol guy team at the bottom.
Bank
They're
Yugi fan club, yeah.
yeah, yeah, they're
Wait,
at
you
the
can't read
bottom.
that? Come on.
No. Yeah, so they're gonna be behind points most of the season because of their buy in the first week. So
True.
just look at PPW. That would be a better indicator of where people are.
Yeah, definitely why we make sure we include that stat in the screenshot of the standings as well. Want to make sure that you get that full picture. So sometimes a team that isn't as high up there might be more competitive than they look at just a casual first glance. Great point for sure. So, any other things that we want to talk about as far as legacy is concerned before we move on to our final series to cover for the week?
Let's do it.
That sounds like a no to me. All right, so let's take it back over to Marty B. We've got Marty B's stats corner again. This one for pro. We got some spicy new archetypes. Talk to me about what is going on in pro in the meta as of week 1, Marty.
This is a really weird time. You can tell it's a 4-set meta because of how few archetypes there are compared to last season. Okay, if you look, some of these classes only have one archetype overall. So this meta is far from solved. No one was really given much time to figure out what the optimal builds are, what good lineups can be, all that good stuff. So Demon Hunter is doing a little bit of new, a little bit of old. So you have Combo Demon Hunter, Soul Demon Hunter, which is not very popular, and then the Soulless mid-range Demon Hunter was the most popular bring. I expect that to possibly go down. Stats just yet. It's still a bit early. But it'll be interesting to see what people think about all these different decks. Druid was only Token Druid, so those are the early game Dribbling variants, not the Treants, because all the Treant support has rotated, other than Arbor Up, I guess. But Arbor Up is just busted. So just run Arbor Up in any Token Druid archetype, and you'll probably win a game or two.
Very true.
Hunter is just Face Hunter. No more Highlander Hunter. Zephyrus is gone. Brana is gone. So Hunter is just doing what it does best, and that is smorking. Mage, people may have thought Deck of Lunacy and Spell Mage would have been dominant and still had a pretty decent showing this week, but it was actually Spell Damage Mage that was more popular. Some of these cut the fireballs for Kazakis. Some decided to run the fireballs. It varied a bit, but the whole idea was you run Egwin, the new core set card, and you get a bunch of spell damage, and then you kill the opponent with stuff like Raz. So, pretty cool. Now, Paladin. Paladin was brought by so many people. And it was pretty well split. 16 Libram Paladins, that's still around even with the Penflinger nerf and the Sword of the Fallen nerf. Sword of the Fallen being nerfed is even more surprising with the 42 Secret Paladins brought. People still think that deck is busted, so they brought a bunch of it. Some of them didn't think it was as crazy, though, so they just cut the secret package and went straight aggro, 5 brinks. And finally, one person, we were talking about them earlier, Ron, he's on your team, won't mention who, they brought what I would call a mid-range paladin, where they ran a bit more of a heavy package with things like Tyrion and a few extra dragons in the 5+ mana slot, rather than dedicating everything to that early game you see in the aggro paladin package.
It was a bit of an early experiment from No Hands Gamer, who called it, I think, Dragon Bait Paladin. And it turned out
Yes.
it was mostly bait.
Yeah.
Didn't seem like it was all that strong.
Yeah. So next up we had priest, 30 control priests, and then one absolute Chad who decided to bring Rally Priest. Everyone knows Rally Priest, the miracle version, where you play Rally, Sethek Veilweaver, and Nazmani Bloodweaver, and you just kind of pop off. So good on them. They actually got a win. For Rogue was the second most popular class. 13 secret rogues. That may be going up soon because I've heard good things about it. 26 Miracle Rogues. I'm still waiting on the data for that. And 11 Weapon Rogues. So when I say Weapon Rogues, I'm not talking about the Poison Rogues with the new Poison weapon for the most part. Everyone seems to be running self-sharpening swords still. Okay? Everyone sees self-sharpening hack, and bigger is better when it comes to hitting the face. So play big weapons, smack them in the face, whatever they tell you. Bigger is better in that case. Finally,
Nice.
Shaman Warlock.
Unintentional rhyme.
Yeah, Shaman and Warlock. Shaman was just aggro for the most part, just the aggro Doomhammer burn that we've seen. There were rumblings of it before the patch, and it still showed up after, so it could be pretty good. 9 control warlocks. Much fewer warlocks than you would have expected from other places. Really, control warlock was seeing a ton of play for a little while, but not so much in THL. Then for warrior, it's split between Rush Warrior, which was very popular, and Control Warrior, which is pretty varied in builds and is still being figured out.
Yeah.
Just like
I think
just like
Rush Warrior's kind of the crazy good one, but I don't know. Control might have a place.
yeah, it should have a place overall as the meta kind of settles. But we'll see how much of a place that is. I just wanted to say overall, this was just like Wild, where there were much fewer games per match than usual, where we usually see about 4.15, only about 3.7 games per match. So lots of sweeps, lots of 3-1 wins, not a lot of 5-game series overall,
Yep.
which means fewer points given out.
I think I think with Priest being such a hot take this week, I think we'll probably see more Warlocks in the coming weeks to try to counter the Priests. And I think Warlock does have some place. The Control Warlock, I think, has some refining to do, but I think it could potentially be one of those decks that you bring every other week or every few weeks.
Yeah,
I
we'll
think
have to see.
I think Token Druid might be falling off here a little bit. I don't think it's as good as people think it is in the tournament meta.
Yeah, again, I don't really have any stats on that, so I can't say for sure myself.
This
I
is
know
all just like secondhand experience, I mean, firsthand experience. I might be wrong,
I
but
know
just
one deck that is well ahead of the pack from the last week, and I can't say which, but I expect that to increase in popularity for sure. The rest, in terms of the tournament meta in THL alone, it's really up in the air
Yeah,
from what I
makes
saw.
sense. And I mean, it's still week one. There's going to be a lot of shakeups, I'm sure, too. But interesting to see what trends we're looking at from, minimal time and information for players to get, full lists out before they play, and what we might see from week two could be wildly different, could be somewhat similar, but always going to
If
be interesting to keep an eye on.
if anything, I expect both Pro and Wild series to tighten up a ton. Seeing so few games played per match and so many sweeps is very unusual for THL from what I've seen over the. I don't expect it to stay this way at all. People are going to learn quickly and they're going to adjust, and a lot of matches that are pretty lopsided are going to tighten up. So
It
don't
does
put much
more or
stock into what I may say is good or popular, and keep an eye on all different kinds of archetypes for something to break through.
For sure. Go ahead, Lotus.
we're going to see a lot more concentration because last week the meta was basically up in the air. We talked about that. I think the fact that there were more 3-0s is also about that, especially in Hero, just because the way the meta was constructed, people had figured out one or another class, but not everything. And I don't think everything's figured out. I think right now we actually have an unstable meta still, which is quite surprising. It usually doesn't take this long. Don't worry, Vicious Syndicate comes out on Thursday, but
There you go. Just steal from VS and you're fine.
yeah, a lot of people do that. But taking that into account, I do think that right now the meta is very unstable. So we're still going to see a bit of a more sweepy week, but that could change next week.
That's
I
fair.
also I also think a lot of pro players took a lot of their decks from the GMs, and when the GMs made their decks, they had very little time to play around with the new meta, and a lot of the GM decks were not like super refined decks.
True.
That's
They
just
Yeah.
were also playing into a meta that did not come to fruition.
Yeah. So, with that, that is our look at your meta report from Pro from the last week. Let's dive into the matches themselves. We're going to lead off with the Black Conference here. Let's get it up on the screen. And what do you know? Mancrick's Multiple Wives. Not a team that got a whole lot of fanfare heading into the season. I think a lot of places had them, fairly low ranked. But they got their player of the week this week in Jester picking up that big victory and 20 points for Mancrick's Multiple Wives to start off the season and take that top spot in the conference. You see Swagoi, I believe, condensed to one team. Last season they had two, and it looks like it maybe is paying off for them a little bit. They maybe consolidated some of that strength, and now they're right in the number two spot. Meanwhile, F2L split into two different teams, and F2L Scarlet starting out with only 9 points. We'll check out the other F2L in pink in a moment as well, but interesting to see those trends early. Let's start off talking about Mancrick's Multiple Wives taking this big victory over F2L Scarlet. Um, Marty, I got to come right back to you with anything relating to F2L. So talk to me about this one.
Well, I'm just gonna say, Strum was right. A lot of people decided to look towards GM lineups, and that's kind of what F2L did this week. They didn't have much time to test anything. I had a bunch of stuff personally going on. Rebob as well. Rescue is actually dropping from the team, so we won't be seeing him because his workload is too much.
Oh, it's too bad.
And
He's got one of my favorite THL names.
yeah, it's unfortunate, but we have a fantastic player coming in, thanks to Nails, who suggested them to Rebob. So it'll be super exciting. They're fitting right in. It's just great. But yeah, they took to GM lineups and it didn't work out because the meta was not at all what GMs thought it would be. And Mancrick's Multiple Wives took advantage of that. So they were able to get a dominant win as a result.
Nice. Yeah, makes sense. Good start for Mancrix for sure. Um, I was really impressed with wins from, everyone but the one seed and MPV losing to Berserk. There's no shame in that. Berserk is an absolute monster of a player too.
You could say he's berserk.
Yeah, there it
I
is.
mean everybody on that team that they beat is gross. I mean
Yeah.
Rebob, Snake, Ariana, formerly Catman, Rescue Wabbit. All those people are gross. So that's a great win for Mancrick's Multiple Wives. I like all of the and those players like they're like 3 seeds, 4 seed players in other conferences. I mean other series. So I'm gonna be rooting for this team. I want to see this team stay on top of the conference, except this week.
Yeah, absolutely. Next up, of course, we have a tie. Pretty rare occurrence here. We were looking at some really close, 1 point difference decider games. And we had a tie between former champion of Pro Series Hype Horizon and new-ish team. Due process has changed to Grew process with a whole bunch of really impressive players on it. But 13-13 is a fascinating score here. Lotus Knight, talk to me about this one. What went down in this match here?
Sure. Group process is showing that they're actually a strong team. Hype Horizon was still considered probably the strongest team in Pro. They are insane. They have some of the best players ever to play in THL. And they didn't perform as well as people thought, tying with a team that has usually been okay. Solo Jazz left the unknown and lost against Liquid Ox, but Rice Bowls Cool Kid won 3-2 against Taco Cat, but Boolean beat Gamer RVG 3-1. And McBanterface closed the match 3-2 against Goose, making it a very weird tie.
Yeah, one of the rarest situation that happens. So, of course, for those of you who don't know, in the event of a tie, you get that one additional point, like in soccer/football if you're not in the US, and in hockey and things like that. Generally, we just see the 3 points for the win or the 0 for the loss, but there are other ways to get points, and a tie is one of them. Each of these teams with that one additional to put them at 14 on the season. Really interesting match and a fun one to see. Any other things on black before we move to pink?
Yeah, this conference I think is going to shape up to be a weird one. There's a lot of teams that are overperforming and a lot of teams that are underperforming, and I'm willing to see if any of these teams bounce back and or if this kind of trend keeps going the way that it's going.
Yeah, true. Fortunately for that brushy tuna team down there, they have DeSharmo on it, or they'd be even further down in the dumps. Just not looking too hot. But we won't focus
Yeah,
too much on that for this
yeah.
week.
Well, I mean, we can talk about our snafu of you. We throwing people under the bus.
Hey, there did
Look,
happen to be.
I've been thrown under the bus. Ron's been thrown under the bus. Marty's been thrown under the bus.
That's
But
right. Let's throw Lotus under the bus. I
Lotus
think it's
Knight has
time.
not been thrown under the bus. So Lotus Knight,
Yeah,
what happened?
I mean, we're not talking about that match today.
I mean, we're not going to highlight the match, but we'll just mention it real quick. Lotus Knight, prior to um, Pro Week 1 submissions being finalized, made the decision to nerf me and submitted a lineup for me by mistake that included Priest. And for those of you who don't know,
That was
I
actually a
have
buff.
not once in like 6 THL seasons ever brought Priest. Fortunately, it was banned, so my record of never playing a THL match with Priest is still unblemished. Thank you very much, Fogey, and also thank you for the 3-0 sweep that you handed me. It was very fun.
Love
No,
you, Lotus
no
Knight.
need to blame Lotus on that one. That one was all me, just getting wrecked by Fogey, who's an incredible player.
Just a quick shout out. Thanks, Casual R, for the follow. Glad to see you're enjoying the stream.
Oh, nice. Much appreciated. All right, so now that we've thrown Lotus effectively under the bus here, let's move on to the Pink Conference, our last series, our last conference to recap of the week here. And I mean, it's Pink Conference, so, another week in Pink, another new season, and Popeye's Spicy Chicken Sandwich is right up there at the top spot once again. I feel like I got deja vu here. This team literally never stops being number
Oh,
one in Pink. It's insane. I think
You
once
know,
maybe F2L took a spot from them.
that burger or that sandwich looks so delicious. I already ate, and I'm looking at that thing, and I'm like, I want one
Yup,
right now.
they want to make you hungry.
So thank you, Popeye Spicy Chicken Sandwich, for promoting
Yeah,
Popeyes.
they're looking for a sponsor. They're angling hard for it, and props to them. But very interesting lead off to Pink Conference. As I mentioned before, checking on some of the teams that kind of split up. Like we had a uh, two teams repping, a different esports organization in Swagoi last season, and the split team didn't do so hot, but started off in black this season with a very high score. Here, when we look at black and pink, the F2L split so far not looking ideal as both F2L teams kicked off with a loss and not too high of a point total. I guess 11 isn't a terrible loss, though. Any double digit loss is okay. We've got everyone's favorite team to hate, Aeon at the bottom with 9, Sheepy's Clownstone hanging in strong at the top at 20 and 19. And we are going to start with that team that we all love to hate so much, Clownstone versus Aeon. Desharmo, you know this crew pretty well. Talk to me
I do.
about what happened with the Aeon folks and how bad they just got beaten up by Clownstone
Golly,
here.
they got badly beaten, and you Ron, I'm not Ron haters, Donde haters are gonna love,
Oh, it's fantastic. Valera, is that going
you
to
know,
change to
our
Zarella?
hat, Donde, Markshire. I mean, yeah, yeah. I
Maybe
have
maybe
no
incoming.
idea that Reggie loves to change his name. I don't know, but I
Reggie gonna
mean,
Reggie.
just an utter annihilation. But Donkey keeping it real and getting that 1-3-0 win, so Aeon doesn't feel too bad about their loss there. So and something that you might like, Ron, Donde got three, or as Marty got 3-0'd. So
In typical Donde fashion, bringing Paladin, the bad Paladin, and losing.
There you go. What more would you expect?
but I mean, Cloudstone, very strong team with all those players, gross teams.
Yeah, no, it's actually
Nails,
pretty
yeah,
absurd. Like
yeah,
Nails holding like
he's
double
like
rank 1 legend
one.
spots.
And then coming in winning the duos tournament in the last minute. I
Yeah,
mean, just utter grossness from this team, and I expect this team to be on the top of pink, along with Popeye's spicy chicken sandwich.
yeah.
So no,
Clownstone is basically Yasharash's Clown College from
yeah,
last season, and they made it to the Final Four, I believe, in Pro last season. So definitely, once again, look for
yeah.
this team to be a very strong contender for sure.
And I think Aeon will bounce back. Aeon always bounces back. They had a rough week. I think they'll step it up. I mean, just looking at the lineups, nobody brought Priest on the Aeon side, and Priest was a big uh, um, class this week that got a lot of wins and forced a lot of bans.
True. Yeah,
And
Priest looking pretty strong
Rogue,
right now.
the rogues that people were running were not the strong rogue archetypes. So
Fair.
we'll look that. I think that'll change.
Absolutely. And with that, let's move on to the final highlight match of the week. Sheepies taking a 17-10 victory over No Pros here. Marty, this one was a little bit, I guess closer-ish than Clownstone Aeon, but kind of the same overall spread there. No Pros just picking up a little bit more. Talk to me about what happened in this breakdown here.
Well, Sheepies is a very strong team, and they're showing it here against No Pros here. Mike is coming in with a 3-2 win. Cyan Sheepies falling, but they're still very strong. They had a solid season last season, and going down 0-1, not really like something that they're used to, I'd say. So I expect them to turn it around, just not next weekend or not this week because I'm facing them. But seeing as Onyx always lethal and why the hunt times during Pro last season, all of them winning is no surprise here. Even against players like Agent PWE or Mumkid and Avi, like those are all insane players. And honestly, this is probably the most stacked No Pros here has been in several seasons. But when you play against a team like Sheepies, you're gonna have a hard time regardless.
Yeah, I just got to say, I'm really impressed by No Pros here roster too. XQMA as a player coming in to just beef up what's already like a super strong team. They've got Avi in the 5, and that's kind of nonsense. Agent PWA and your Mumcat, obviously, with a pretty strong track record, and Posca always really competitive. So Sheepy's just showing exactly how good they are with a lead off here, but I expect No Pros here, another contender. What more can we say about Pro than what we say most seasons, right? It's stacked. It's always just a brutally difficult field to get through, and it's going to be exciting to see who rises to the top. But that should do it for all of our series recaps. We'll head on back over to the caster screen for our final segments, our RNG card of the week and our clip of the week. Before we do, though, any final words on Pro and what we expect from this season?
Very interesting season. A lot of good teams. I'd like to see what's going to happen the rest of the season.
Oh, yeah, for sure. So let's bring it on back over here to the caster screen. And for those of you who've watched before, we often have had a tie-in with RNG card of the week and the clip of the week, but we're actually not going to do that this time. And mainly, it's because we just want to mess with our hat a little bit. The RNG card of the week is Gift of Luminance. This, of course, came from the match Ridiculous Hat played on stream against Nails, where he missed lethal by not counting his damage as a Demon Hunter against a Priest, and then got instantly mega punished when Nails top decked a Renew. I believe it was a top deck anyway. Healed his face as the Priest, discovered Gift of Luminance, and had exactly enough mana to play that 6 mana 8/8 taunt along with his remaining 3 mana to put Gift of Luminance on it and just completely lock out the game with, double Divine Shield taunts that also heals face for 16. Just completely swung the outcome of that game there on the way to Nails' victory. Just had to mess with you and drive it in one more time, Hat, because it's fun and because we love to hate Aeon. But there it is, RNG card of the week, Gift of Luminance, not related this week to our clip, which comes from a match with Dr. Fish and Clarity. We just got to let the clip itself do the talking. So let me get that up on the screen for us here. Yeah, this is an interesting decision point for Clarity. Do you just completely pass here? I like this move from Clarity.
What a
Oh,
draw!
wow.
What a draw!
Oh,
It's
wow.
Mancrick!
He found one.
And he found the
Ghost
Knife
Paints.
Fender!
Oh, my
god!
goodness! Right off the top.
Oh
right before
no!
Clarity healed out of rage, and
Devastating.
fireworks in Game 1 as Dr. Fish pulls out a thrilling Game 1 victory, eliminating Clarity's Paladin and getting the Hunter through. All right, so there you have it. Our clip of the week happened on his birthday, no less, for Dr. Fish. It was ever so close to picking Mancrick or, the Consumed by Hatred version. Let's just call it Wife. Mancrick found Wife and found it at exactly the perfect time for Dr. Fish to pick up a Game 1 victory, which is so massive in the Hero series right before Clarity healed. Getting exact lethal was a pretty crazy game to watch for sure. And there you have it. That is your clip of the week. That is our show for the week. Thank you all for hanging around. We appreciate you tuning in. Let's turn it on over to our hosts, as always, for final words. We're going to start up at the top left. Marty, take it away. Final words on the night.
Yeah, it's been a good night so far. One last shout out for the Wild preview. Check it out on the blog if you haven't. It's also in Discord under content announcements and in the Wild series. Had a lot of fun writing that. And if you want to have any of your matches streamed, hit up Lotus. Lotus, I'm sure you'll have more to say about this, but it's a ton of fun being on stream. So
Perfect. Awesome. All right, Desharmo, go ahead. Final words.
Yeah, I'd like to kind of echo what Marty was saying. Shout out to our community. We have so many members who just put in an inordinate amount of time I don't know if that's the right word, but an extreme amount of time into the content that we do here on THL. And I'd like to thank all those players that just put in the time and make the THL that it is today. So thank you for that, and keep doing what you're doing because without you, we're nothing.
Love to hear it. Thank you to Sharmo. Next up, to our bottom right, go ahead, Dr. Lotus Knight. Final words.
Well, I'll do my as always. You can DM me, Saku, or Donde if you would like to play on stream. We specifically this week. I'm not sure if Schoolstone Sunday will up, but if you're interested on playing standard on Sunday, you can DM me and we'll try to make it happen. I'm still trying to organize that. But otherwise, DM me, DM Saku, DM Donde will get your match on stream. I can guarantee you it's a lot of fun. And yeah, it will be a good time if you would like to be there.
And it's a
Awesome.
good way to get better too. You'll have
Yeah.
people checking your plays in real time, and that's something invaluable.
That is a
Yes.
great point, actually, because you know it's really important to review your matches, and so much better to get in the moment, casting and analysis on what is happening and being able to see both players' hands completely. If you get on stream, you have the opportunity to do that. But for me, final words on the night, I got to close it out as I always do with our announcements of what is coming up in the future. We have Hearthcenter on Tuesday, as always, that will round you out again for the start of next week. After us is Wednesday's Tavern Talk, where we do our preview show and cover everything that is coming up in the week that will about to be played, followed of course by matches. We've got matches on Thursday, on Friday, on Saturday, on Sunday, especially flexible times for Lotus Night with Schoolstone. And that brings us back around to the start of the week. Mako took the week off, as we mentioned he might, for his birthday, but he will be bringing you around the saloon next Monday. And then, of course, back around to Hearthcenter on Tuesday, where we will recap the week that happened and talk to you about all of the things that went down in those 5 series. Maybe we'll even have some octathlon news for you. Who knows? Let's not get too crazy though. That might be 2 or 3 weeks out. But that is our show. Thank you again for watching. Remember, there's merch on the website. Stay beautiful, THL, and we will see you all later. Have a great night.